everybody who's commented on my video and supported me, which is really great, and I really appreciate it all. I was gonna answer some of the questions you guys have left about supplies. So I just want to let everyone know I'm not really an internet person, so I really appreciate all the comments and stuff, and I'm gonna try to reply to them as quickly as I can, but a lot of the questions I want to actually give like a nice response to, so I don't want to just like half-ass it, I guess, so it might take a little while on some of the questions. But so for a lot of the questions that I've been getting about supplies, I'm just going to answer those in this video. And again, this is just like what I choose to use, and it's all personal preference, so you can do whatever you want. And yeah, so I'm just going to go over sketchbooks first. So I have 3 sketchbooks. I don't always have these all on me, but I have a little baby one, a regular moleskin, like medium one, and then a watercolor album. So they're good. I like moleskins just because like they can take a beating. They also open up completely flat, and that's kind of why I usually choose them. I don't choose the ones with the rings because I always bend the rings. I've ruined sketchbooks before by just bending the rings, so these are what I choose, but that's just personal preference because I like how durable they are and I like how they open up flat. The watercolor paper it's pretty good. It's nothing compared to like Arches or anything, but if you want a watercolor sketchbook, I suggest this, unless you're gonna do like a different brand with the swirl, like the little ringlets, because I don't think Moleskine sells the ringlet ones, but I could be totally wrong. So I'm gonna talk about watercolor and whatnot because I've gotten some questions about watercolor. So I am no watercolor master or anything. I never took a class in it. I'm really lucky. My significant other is very, very good at watercolor, and I have a very good friend who's also very good at watercolor, so they've helped me in the past year or so with it. So this, I just have one of these. It's just something I bought at like a Michael's craft store. You can buy them on Amazon. So when you open it up, I really Frankenstein the shit out of this. So basically, this is just what my palette looks like. It's gross, but that's kind of part of the beauty, I guess, of it. So I got a bunch of the little squares and I just glued them in there, and then I made my own squares here, and then I glued a little towel in there, so you're not using paper towels. Like, that's not super great for the environment, so I usually just reuse this. I've also added more, and there are little pieces of Amazon gift card when I was finished that I cut it up and just glued it in to separate stuff. And so then I have the regular little holders for all the paint. So with that, it's just like kind of my personal choice. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just buy like the ones that already have it, you know, the little hard pieces in there. And I don't like those just because I just feel like you can't really get personal with them, and they kind of they come like very much pre-done, and that's it until you kind of use them all, and then you can go through them. So personally, I get a blank one, and then, you know, you can choose your own watercolors. So with that being said, I know watercolors are a lot of money, so it's usually best to kind of just like try to figure out what you like beforehand. So on Amazon, these are actually really affordable. They have these little tiny tubes of Holbein, and again, you don't have to use Holbein, this is just what I use. You can use Winsor Newton. There's plenty of watercolor brands out there that are great, but my family's Japanese, and I've kind of always grown up with Japanese art supplies, so I'm just going to stick with what I know. So these little tiny tubes are great. They come in a huge pack on Amazon, and I think they're around $25, but you get a ton of different colors that you can all try. And then so when you like a color, say you really like this one, and these will last a long time too, because with watercolor you're not using a lot. So when you like this one a lot, you can go to the store and you can buy the larger tube, like one of these, and that can be the color you use in your watercolor kit. Now a lot of these colors you can mix. I'm really not good at mixing, so I usually just buy the color. So yeah, so this is kind of how I go about it. I buy a little set, and then I kind of see what I like, and I move on from there. Also, having watercolor parties with your friends is great. You know, if they have a kind of like a set that they've made, you can try out some different colors and see what you like. I've done that with a couple of my friends. Looking at you, Stephanie. But yeah, it was really fun. So if you want to have a watercolor party with your buddies, I'd say go ahead. So the other thing, so this is just another watercolor, regular one. So the other thing that I use a lot is gouache or gouache. I'm not really sure how to say it. I have to be honest. And that would be this stuff. I go through this like crazy because it's how I was taught to use it is to use basically no water. And I know that's probably not the correct way of using it, but that was how I was taught to use it, and I use it that way. So I go through this stuff like crazy, like absolutely mad. Some people say, then why wouldn't you use use acrylic? Well, when you have this in your sketchbook, compared to acrylic, so acrylic will actually stick to the pages and rip them, which I've had a lot of troubles with. So gouache actually doesn't stick to the pages. Now if you're going to use acrylic gouache, it might a little bit, but this, the regular gouache, will not stick to the pages. So that's nice. Like, it doesn't ruin it. Like, once you do something, when you close it, it doesn't ruin it. And so there's tons of different kinds of gouache brands. So these are the Winsor Newton ones. I usually do Winsor Newton over Holbein with gouache just because it's slightly cheaper, and I go through this stuff like mad. Like, you know, yeah, just how I was taught to use it, just, you know, you go through like a huge bottle really fast. So that's that. There's this, which is more like of an acrylic, because it's acrylic gouache, and what happens when you use this is when you put it down and then it dries, you can't change it. So that's nice for little details and stuff. So you can kind of choose what you want in that department, and then, you know, make your own little Frankenstein watercolor kit, which is what I did, which I had a lot of fun doing. And so now I'm going to talk about kind of what I bring every day with me when I go out and draw. So I have this, look at this really cute little bag I got for the summer because it's plastic, so water can't get in there. So this is just what I bring. So for that, I always bring one of these. They're like these little brush pens. I know that a lot of American stores have these, but the thing is, when you buy, I don't know, maybe it's just me and I'm biased to Japanese art supplies, but the Japanese art supplies, if you open this up, they actually have real bristles, so it's actually like a brush pen. I've never found an American brand with bristles. They usually just have that kind of gross felt tip that I personally don't like. Yeah, I don't really like it, but you can use it for, you know, you can use them if you like them. I've never been a fan. I've ruined them, I've broken them, so these take a beating, and I really like them. And you can buy them, you can probably buy something similar if you go to an art store and you ask if they have a Japanese art supply section. They should probably, something similar should be in there. I know in a lot of stores they don't sell Japananize art supplies, at least where I live, which is frustrating, but you can also order them online. So now I'm going to go over what I have in my little bag of tricks here with these cute little whales on it. Okay. Alright, almost there, getting everything out. Okay, so this is usually what I have on me, along with that brush pen. So I'll just go over. So this gross thing right here is a kneadable eraser, which they're great. They don't leave stupid marks on the page and anything like that. So I highly suggest getting one of these if you haven't. I got this at CalArts, and I think it's like $1 or something. So they're good, and you just need them to clean them, and then you can use them forever. So this you can get at any paint store or like a Michael's Crafts. I just use this to help my pages stay clean a little bit, making squares for the watercolors and stuff. It's not needed, but that's just, I like that look. So something I definitely suggest getting is these guys, these little watercolor brushes. So when you're going out, so you don't end up like me, I'd bring one of these because I was at a museum one time, and you know, I brought a little tiny cup of water and my brushes, like my regular brushes, and the cup of water exploded, and it got all over the case of these beetles that have probably been there since the 1920s, and the beetles weren't harmed, but the case was soaking wet, and I felt so bad, but I cleaned it up really fast and no one saw. But to avoid that shit, I would just get one of these. They're just like you fill them up with water in here, and then you can just squeeze for when you need the water, and they're great. They last a really long time too. So those are really good. Any little pen, I use, sometimes when I do blind contours, I use these little pens. Again, you don't need these, but that's just what I like to do. And as for pencils, I like these Blackwing pencils just because they're really soft. That's just a personal preference. Again, you don't need to use Blackwing pencils. I have regular Bic pencils. Those are really fun. And then I have these guys, which I do some of my character sketches beforehand. And I don't know, I've always, in high school, I always did that. It's just a personal preference. You don't have to do it. You can always do them in, you know, regular pencils or whatever you'd like. And then I always have my cute little chapstick. But it's a little peach. Isn't that cute? That's it. That's all I have for everyday stuff. I know people wanted to talk about ink as well. That's probably going to be an entirely another video. I mean, this is already almost 10 minutes long. So again, yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support and all the really nice comments, and I hope this little video helps. You know, I think art supplies are really more for personal preference on what you like, and there's no right or wrong way to kind of go about what you want to use. Like, I mean, I destroyed the, like, really, I mean, that's Frankenstein up in there, but, like, you just have to pick what you like to use, and hopefully that helps. And yeah, bye!